Hi, my name is Paola, and I will be your social worker today. A few things that I wanted to mention before we get started is that about confidentiality. So, that is basically everything that you say in this room will stay between us unless you are in some type of immediate harm to yourself or others. Then I will have to report that because I am also a mandated reporter and I don't want you to be in any physical harm to yourself or others, so I would have to report it. Otherwise, everything is confidential between both of us and it will stay here. So, whatever you have to say, you could tell me and whatever you're comfortable with. Do you have any questions?
No, not about that, but it does make me really happy to hear that because I was worried that if I start telling people, the word will get around. And it's nice to know that if I'm talking with you, it's only going to stay between us unless it has to go to someone else.
Yeah, definitely. Don't worry about that. And can I get your name as well?
Yeah, my name is Matt.
Okay, and so why are you here today? What brought you here?
So I'm here today mainly for, recently it's just been my partner's had just random bits of just attacks on me for no reason, from what I can tell. And I am trying to get away from that as quickly as possible because it's become a toxic relationship that I don't want to deal with anymore. And it's causing me stress that I don't need in my life right now.
Okay, and is it that you guys are being abusive towards each other, or is it just her against you?
From what I can tell, I may have been like that a couple of times, but it's mainly her on this roundabout because it'll be randomly, I'll be doing work at home or I'll be cooking or something. And then she just comes in all upset and then starts getting a little bit violent and tries to throw punches and stuff like that. And I kind of want to get away from that.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, how long have you guys been together?
We've been together for about 8 months now, and the spouts of violence started about last month.
Okay, and do you think that you guys would be willing to work it out, or are you just ready to leave?
Uh, we tried working it out. We did kind of like a couples therapy session, but it didn't go very well. It just seemed to have made things worse. So I think I'm ready to just leave and try not to look back on this situation.
Great. Well, I do appreciate all your honesty. I know not a lot of couples want to go to um, couples counseling because it is hard to speak to someone else about your relationship. So I do appreciate the fact that you're so open about all this. I know abuse can be very hard and it's hard to come out to someone and speak up about it. So I appreciate all your bravery.
Yeah, because I haven't really told anyone about this yet. Because the whole, masculinity stereotype and all, it makes it a little bit more difficult to do so.
Right. Okay. So, what are some of your goals that you are trying to get out of this, and what are you expecting for the future?
So right now, my primary goal is finding new housing because we share an apartment together, and I want to try to find something new. I have couch surfed a little bit with some of my friends and family, but it doesn't last for very long, and it's kind of become a problem. So I'm trying to find my own place now, away from her, so where she can't find me.
Okay, and do you have any income?
Yeah, so currently I'm a chef for a local bar and grill we have in town, and I can afford my own place. It's just the fact that we both share the same job, so it's a little bit difficult to get away from her while working. So I was also kind of trying to find new work as well.
Okay, and have you guys discussed your separation, or is this just one-sided where you're ready to leave and she's not?
So I did try to bring up the topic of separation and it did not go over very well. She got very upset and kind of just locked herself in a room and wouldn't come out and started like punching the wall and stuff. So it was really worrying to me.
Okay. Um, So, have you started looking for any new jobs yet, or are you still a little on the fence about leaving your job?
So I really love the job that I'm at now because I've got a lot of great people, but I don't think I can be there if she's there because she's made like public, I guess, arguments in front of customers and coworkers with me, and it's becoming too much for me, and I can't deal with that, so I have to find something new.
What has your management said about this?
My management isn't really involved. They know it's going on, but they don't care to put a stop to it. So they kind of just let it go for, I guess you could say, entertainment for all the customers in the store. And then it just kind of leaves me in a sour mood all day trying to deal with it all.
Okay, so I know you mentioned that you really love your job, but it sounds like you can find a better job that does care about you and your safety a lot more because I don't think this is the right fit for you since you said your management doesn't really care. So perhaps we could find you a better job that does care about you and your safety more and somewhere that you will be in a safer environment and feel better. I know it can be hard leaving a job that you love, but there might be something better out there for you.
Yeah, I've had that same thought. It's just I've been on the fence for a while if I wanted to leave or not, but the most recent argument kind of pushed it over.
Okay, so that would be a main concern as far as our goals would be a new job and as well as housing, as you mentioned. There is a very good resource here in town that lets domestic violence people stay in different housing complexes, such as apartments. Is that something that you would be willing to look into?
Yeah, I think I could look into that because right now I could probably afford something like an apartment and not a home. So that sounds like it'll be a good plan moving forward.
Okay, and with these apartments, they do let you stay for however long you need. So if that means a few months or even up to a year, you would be able to stay there until you are ready to move out on your own and get a new place. And with this, you'd be able to have more time to look for a better job and save more money. If that sounds like a good plan to you, what do you think?
That sounds good. I think it'll be a better plan than what I'm currently going through now. And it would allow a lot of good time to think about the future and changes that I need to do for me and changes for everything else.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that you are ready to move forward. Are you at the moment concerned about your safety, like when you go home with her?
Not yet. It's just randomly throughout the day that she has random bouts of violence, but it's nothing major yet. But she recently has gotten into like grabbing objects around her and trying to hit with them. So it's becoming more of a threat, I feel.
Okay, and how soon are you willing to leave?
I would say within the next 2 weeks is when I'd be ready to get out of there.
Okay, great. So, with that, would you like to discuss a plan to move forward and to be able to start packing up your things and leaving? Do you have any friends or family members that would be able to help you move out your stuff?
I actually don't. I moved out here on my own about 4 years ago, so I don't really have anyone around. I have a couple of friends, but they don't really want to be at the house when she's around, so it makes it a little bit more difficult to try and pack.
Okay, so with the 2-week time span that you were saying you would like to leave, I think that would be sufficient time for us to find um, a resource for you to get all your belongings, maybe while she's at work, or just pack a quick bag. Um, with the apartment complexes for the domestic violence, they do also offer services for moving. Does that sound like a good idea to you?
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful because I only have a couple of friends around, and Even if she's at work, they don't like coming around just because of all the toxicity they've noticed as of late. So I would appreciate any help that I can get in the moving process.
Okay, so does it sound like a good plan to start setting up these things so we could move forward for the next few weeks to start with the apartment and for the resource of helping move?
I think that'll work because then in that 2 weeks, I can do a little bit of job hunting on my own to see if there's anything that I can use.
Okay, great. And is there anything else that you have set in mind as a goal or any type of concerns you have as far as yourself or any help that you would need?
None that I can think of at the moment. The only one that comes to mind would maybe be like a support group or something, just because I'm not sure how to move forward exactly from this current situation. But I feel if I was around others that have been going through the same, it might be a little bit more helpful in the end.
Okay. Well, I do have in mind a great therapist that has helped in the past with past victims of domestic violence in order to have you in a better mental well-being. And as well, there is support groups as at the crisis center where the apartment complexes are located, and these are open to anybody. You could attend a session and see if you like it or if you want to keep going, just to hear others and what they have been through. Like I mentioned, this is very hard for people to go through. So I want you to know that you are not alone through this, and there is other people that have been through the same or similar situations. So does that sound like something you'd be interested in the support group and with a therapist?
I think that sounds like a really good idea because there's nothing that comes to mind that could be harmful mentally now, but down the road, I'm not sure what could happen. So I think a little bit of that would help me out in the long run very well.
Okay. And would you be open to seeing the therapist as well, or is that something that you are not sure about?
I don't know, but I personally don't want to, but I know it'll be help me in the long run. So I think it would probably be good to do that in the end over not attending the meetings.
I definitely understand the hesitation on going to see a therapist. Some people just don't want to, but maybe we could start you off with one session and see how that works for you. And if you like it, we could gradually increase the sessions to two or three, or just every other week if you would like, um, to see how that benefits you. And along with the support group, I think it would definitely go hand in hand with each other.
I think that would be beneficial. It sounds like it would work really well for me in the long run.
Great, I'm so happy to hear that. Um, is there any other different goals that you have other than finding a new job and new housing or your mental health? Is there anything else, such as transportation, you might be concerned about?
Transportation might be one because I bought a car recently, but it's kind of going out on me every now and then, so it's not been as reliable as it could be. So I think transportation might be something to go about as well.
Okay, great. Well, we could set you up with a bus pass, if you would be open to that, or as well at the crisis center for the apartment complexes, there is a bus that would help you run your errands and take you to different locations if that sounds like a plan to you while you figure out a better transportation. What do you think about that?
I think it could work because currently my car can maybe run for half an hour and then it just dies, so it's difficult to get around sometimes. So if I had like bigger trips planned, I think that would be really beneficial for me.
Okay, that sounds great. And is there anything else you would like to talk about or work on as far as your goals or how we are going to get there?
I don't have any questions right now, but I imagine I'll have some as time goes on and we're closer to following through on this process. But I don't have anything right now.
Okay, great. Well, to reiterate everything that we have talked about, some of your goals are going to be first is finding a new and safer job. Um, like you said, you are looking for a new job right now. Um, if you need any help with that as well, I could definitely see some resources and help you with the job hunt if that is okay with you. What do you think about that?
I think that could work if I'm not finding anything.
Okay. And then to for our second goal, which was housing, you are going, like you said, you are comfortable with going to the Center for Domestic Violence and staying there for a while, as long as you need. And if you are comfortable with that, there is also, I forgot to mention, there is good security around there, so you wouldn't have to be concerned about your safety. And to follow up with that, there is as well support groups that you said you would be willing to attend, if I am correct. And we could definitely as well set you up with a therapist and maybe start off with 2 sessions to see how that works out for you. And then we could see if you would like to keep doing more, or maybe that's not going to be a good plan for you. Um, and lastly, for your goal, you said that you wanted transportation. So, to talk a little more about that, if I'm correct, you said you would be open to taking the bus or the transportation that they have at the Domestic Violence Center. Um, Another resource we could use is that we do have a partnership with a dealership that helps domestic violence um, people that have been through domestic violence like yourself, and maybe we could see a different car for you, or if you'd like, we could look into another different partnership that we have with mechanics to maybe see if we could figure out what is currently going on with your car and try to fix it instead. Would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. I'd like to do the mechanic option if possible, just because I recently bought the car and I can't really put the money out for a new one at the moment if I'm looking for new places of like a home and stuff like that.
Okay, well, I could definitely write that down for you as well because we do have different partnerships with mechanics as well. And we could see what they could figure out or if they could give you a quota since they do give discounts. Um, just to reassure myself, are those all of your main goals that you were wanting, or is there anything else you would like to add, or any questions about how we are going to get there within those steps?
No, I think we've covered everything really well, and I appreciate the way you've gone into detail about everything. It's made it really easy for me to understand and go along with.
Okay, great. Well, once again, I would like to say that I really appreciate your bravery. I know it is very hard, and like you had mentioned in the beginning, um, there is a stigma around men who are abused, so it can be a little harder. So I do appreciate how brave you are being and the steps that you are willing to take to get out of that relationship. It takes a very strong person to do something like that. And um, just to follow up, would we be able to see each other sometime in the next week or two? Does that work for you for a next meeting?
I think that sounds like it'll work really well. Maybe before we start making the big move, maybe that'd be the best time.
Okay, great. And did you have any other questions or concerns you wanted to talk about before we leave?
Not off the top of my head, no. You did really well at covering everything, so I don't really have any questions.
Okay, well, I will leave you with all my contact information, such as my phone number and email, if you have any emergencies or if you are in any immediate threat. from now until our next meeting, you could definitely get a hold of me and I am going to be there for you. Or if you have any additional questions or concerns about the steps we are going to start taking. And I'll also write down all of the information for you to start looking into the apartment complexes at the domestic violence shelter and as well as all your transportation. So I will give you some of those flyers before you leave. Is there anything else you would like?
Not that I can think of. No, I think everything's been covered really well.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for meeting me. And as well, like I said, thank you for being so brave to open up. I know it can be difficult. So I truly appreciate that. And I will see you for the next meeting. And just call me if we have any other changes or if you would like to see me sooner or later. And we could definitely figure that out.
All right, sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.